This right here is the iconic New River Gorge Bridge. It's used to be the world's largest or longest, but now it's in the Western Hemisphere single arch bridge. It's 876 feet above the New River. So once a year, the third Saturday in October, they have Bridge Day here. They close off the northbound lane and they have a big festival. They bungee jump and parachute off, base jump off the bridge, but that's pretty cool. This all right here is the New River Gorge National Park. It's the newest national park in the park system. It's increased our traffic in our small little town tremendously. But today we're going to go to Nicholas County and we're going to go over Beech Fork into Lilly Fork from Nicholas County over into Clay. So that's our trip for today. While we're driving, this overlanding and four-wheeling has become big in the last couple of years, which is pretty cool. Funny thing is we've been doing this since we'll say the 80s. And that was just me and my guys, friends from school, high school. We got our driver's license. Most of us had a four-wheel drive, so when we get out of school, we were either hitting the woods, just driving around, or hunting, or finding a new place to fish, or whatever. But we've been doing it for a long time. The equipment that folks have now is awesome. Of course, I've got to operate within the parameters of my budget, so sometimes I still do a little old school like we did in the 80s. I have a Jeep Gladiator, been my favorite Jeep, but I don't have a winch. I've got the set of come-alongs, a chain, and the tow strap that I carry in the truck. The same thing we did in the 80s. There was a few folks that have winches back there, but most of us had a come-along and a chain. And now I have a DeWalt chainsaw with cut some trees out of the way when you run into those. But it used to be just a buck saw that you got from the mines where they cut timbers in the mines. But some of the stuff is very, very convenient and a lot better than it used to be. But still trying to hold on to some of the stuff that we used to. But anyway, that's where we're going. We was talking about Jeep Gladiators and four-wheeling back in the day. I've had, God, who knows how many Jeeps. I think my off-roading started, I had a Nissan hardbody, Nissan pickup 4x4. Run the daylights out of that little truck. I got it when I was in the Army, and I was going back and forth from Fort Bragg at the time to home here in West Virginia. There was an extended cab with a 5-speed. Loved that truck. Then I moved on to Toyotas, and my dad was always a Chevrolet person, so you know how that goes. So you throw in a Chevrolet here and there. But I've usually always had a Jeep somewhere, either that I ran around the woods in or was trying to redo. I've had several Jeeps. I think I know I've had 3 CJ7s. I never could really fit into a CJ5. I'm a little long. Had a YJ, had a JK. I've had the 4-door version, the newer 4-door versions of the Wrangler, and now this Gladiator, which I really, really, really like. Talking about CJ5s, one time I was test driving, the guy had a CJ5, and I can't remember, it was a 70-something model. It had a 401 AMC motor in it. Manual steering, manual brakes, 3-speed. It was scary to drive. Needless to say, I didn't get it. two before. I could run the lows, and they were made up for a few years, and now if you do find one, it's they want a small fortune for it, especially if it's in decent shape. So this right here is the newest version of my scramblers. Anyway, we're off to the trail. Yes, I'm back to when I'm on my way back home. Get it. I felt the blood go to my feet. So far, this has been a very, very easy dirt road, basically. Nothing to be concerned about. I can't foresee ever putting it in four-wheel drive on this road. But I just wanted to get out and check it out. So this is the one I have not been on. So like I say, this is Beech Fork to Lilly. So talking about some of the stuff we used to do in the 80s compared to what we do now. This used to carry one of them old Coleman coolers, one of them metal-sided Coleman coolers back in the day, filled with old Milwaukee and some Slim Jims. And now, which has been an awesome addition to our vehicle, is the Bougie RV refrigerator. That has been awesome. I'm dealing with no ice. Still trying to figure out some of the power issues. I can run it off the Jackery, and it works fine. I can run it off of the cigarette lighter. It works fine in the vehicle. But I was trying to figure out if I could run the Jackery off the 110 outlet and then the refrigerator into the Jackery, and as I'm running, it's just it's constantly charging, and so the Jackery keeps full charge for when I stop. But the 110 outlet in the Jeep does not put out enough wattage or amperage, one of the two, to charge the Jackery. And so I went and got a cheap $30 12 volt to 110 volt inverter off of Amazon. And so now I'll run the refrigerator through the inverter through my cigarette lighter, and that seems to work fine. And then we'll just plug it up to the Jackery when I get stopped or whatever. The Jackery is one of the small ones. It's only a 300 water, and it comes with the solar panels and all this stuff. But here lately, it's been kind of cloudy, so we're not really getting a lot of sunlight to charge it that way. So I usually charge it at the house before I start on these adventures. But now, I guess with this inverter, I can charge it as I'm driving if I wanted to go that route. If I wanted to unhook the refrigerator, or the refrigerator's not in the vehicle or whatever. But the refrigerator has definitely been a plus. I really like it. It's very expensive. I mean, compared to some of the other brands, it's very, very affordable. You look at it like, I can buy ice and just throw it in the cooler and I'm good. But just like today, I mean, I've got the refrigerator up here in the front seat, and if I was dealing with ice in a cooler in the front seat, then I'm ice is melting. I've got water everywhere, getting the seats wet, and this way I've negated that. This is really worked good. Keeping our beverages and our food for our track or trail lunch at the well cool like it's supposed to be. Alright, we're at definitely a lot of creek crossings on this road. I would assume if the water got up, we had some rains, it'd be a little different than it is today. But right now it's just really low. Easy navigating. Used to hunt roads like all the time when I was growing up. We always had coon dogs. So we would run the roads like this all the time. But now, so much of the places that we used to go, which were owned at the time, or I guess they still are owned by land companies for like timber or coal companies, and you know, it was pretty much you could go on them. That there was ever no big issue. That the last few years, those companies have leased parcels, or leased their parcels to individuals, hunt clubs. And so all the places that we used to go when we were growing up, hunting and all that stuff, you can no longer do that. Somebody's got a gate on it. You've got 5 people that, you know, and I'm using this as an example. You'll have 5 people that form a hunt club, and they pay $5,000-6,000 a year to lease 14,000-15,000 acres. They stick a gate on it. You can't access it anymore. You can't even access the road just to get off and do a little off-roading. So it is really I guess lessens your opportunities to get out and about anymore. And it's the same way with, you know, young folks and kids that's growing up. And you know, when I remember growing up, and we would get out of school, and I'd get off the school bus at my grandmother's house because Mom and Dad worked. And I had an old 410 shotgun, single shot, H&R. And I would get off the school bus, go to my grandma's house, eat. She always had something to eat. And then I would grab my 410 and I would hunt all the way back down the road. I lived probably 2 miles or so from my grandmother's house, and I would hit the woods and hunt all the way back to my house. Just about every day. Can't do it now. You know, they complain that kids don't get out. Well, a lot of it's their own fault. We've taken the places to get out away from the bridge. I'm gonna spend a log landing right here where they obviously you can see where they've timbered. Where they would load their logs, they would use the skidder and bring them off the hill and bring them right here and load them. Use a cherry picker and load them into a truck, log truck. Probably why this road is in such good shape. Doesn't look like there's been much vehicle traffic on this road except for maybe side-by-sides or ATVs. I'm sure after looks like the log is about to stop, so I'm sure that's probably all that comes out through here. I see a lot of it's posted to private property. I can't imagine a lot of hunters get to hunt down here. So far, it's been an uneventful day. So far on this little trail, you could do this in something that had a little ground clearance. You wouldn't need a 4-wheel drive. Just as long as you wouldn't drag, but as of right now, you wouldn't need a 4-wheel drive on this road at all. Talking about the way we used to do it, of course, there was no cell phones back then. Hold on, there's another can. Pick up this can. talking about communication in the woods. Back in the day, we didn't have that. We didn't have cell phones, of course. No GMRS, no ham radio. We didn't have none of that stuff. We had CB. Some of us had CB, not everybody did. Some of us had CBs in our vehicles. We wasn't talking to each other on the trail. We was, talking to a coal truck driver or whoever else had a CB. Back then, several people would have base stations in their house, and just so you can usually always find somebody to talk to, or if you in an emergency, if you needed to get the word to somebody. But some occasions we didn't have anything. Nothing. It's been more than once that I've had to walk out because I decided I would try to go into this mud hole most of the time, and would get in there and get stuck up high centered or something. Couldn't dig my way out. Couldn't winch my way out or come along my way out. So ended up walking. Something I thought was, or I find pretty interesting is like I said, back in the day, the late 70s and 80s and all that, blah, 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 that, everybody would take their truck out of the woods. I remember going with my parents when I was little, 6, 7 years old, and, Dad's friends that had vehicles, one might have a Jeep, one might have an old Chevy pickup truck, or, the old Broncos, the 70-mile Bronco, whatever they had. We'd go hit the woods and four-wheel up slate piles and all that, and just run the old strip roads. Thought that was the coolest thing. Well, then the four-wheeler ATV came along, and everybody kind of gravitated to the ATV. You could take it a lot more places. You didn't have to have a expensive four-wheel drive vehicle. You just had to have some way to get it from, to wherever you was going. And so everybody had ATVs. Then came side-by-sides. Most of the folks you meet out here on the trail are on one of those. But I think with so everybody's got YouTube, I think YouTube is awesome because you get so many ideas. But I think with the advent of YouTube, it's kind of been like an off-road renaissance, I would say. I started watching, my first thing that I kind of got into after I retired from the Army and from playing policeman and all that stuff, I've always had motorcycles. Usually, cruiser. I don't know how many Harleys I had, and really enjoyed it, But as I got older, and then we started getting grandkids. I got 5 grandsons, so I got the whole basketball team. I wanted to do something with them, and so kind of gravitated towards the adventure bike, and which has been fantastic. I love it. Able to go across the interstate, long periods of time, and then be able to get on a road like this. And I have a Triumph, and I had a 1200 Tiger. It's a fairly large bike, but they're so capable. So anyway, so we started motor camping off the motorcycle, and so you kind of learned what you needed, what you didn't need, what you could pack, try to get the lightest stuff possible. And it's not like we were just doing this in August. I mean, we were doing this in some of the cooler months, some of the winter months we was motor camping. So you just learned to pack, I guess, smarter, and just taking what you needed, and you kind of leaving a lot of the convenient stuff. We kind of carry that concept over to the vehicle. So what I do now is I usually don't have service on my phone. I can't update that. So I'm going off the nav on the Jeep, and according to this road that I'm on ends here very shortly. But I don't know if that's the case. According to the nav on the vehicle, it ends about right here. Obviously, something about the various Jeeps I've had in the past. Like I said, I really like this Gladiator. You know, it gets a lot of folks bash it. You know, sales are down on it. Hopefully, they continue making it. I think it's the most practical one of all the Jeeps, but you know, folks get them and expect them to ride, you know, like a Mercedes and be quiet like a Lexus, you know, sip gas like a Prius. Well, a Jeep is none of the above. You know, you have to, you know, you don't buy one for the fuel economy, because you don't get no fuel economy. They're terrible on gas. And then, you know, and then if you modify it, you go up and you get bigger tires and whatever, which I have done. Makes it more capable, but it also keeps it from, here we go, we're in a line here, I think. I don't know where this road goes. We're kind of traveling in the dark here. I don't have any type of service to update this map, and so I have no idea if we're on the right road, wrong road. Do not know. I'm just moving on. Maybe figure something out. There has been vehicle traffic here. We're still trekking on. Still have no clue where I'm at, because I have no service whatsoever to update any maps, any nav on this vehicle. I'm just kind of going until we hit pavement or a gate or private property or something to where I can't go any farther. And then I guess I'll turn around and go back. Starting to go back uphill, getting out of the creek a little bit. Maybe we're going in the right direction. We'll find out again. Hoping that the presence of gravel is going us in the right direction. Not always necessarily the case, but I'm going to assume on coal company property. We've passed a couple of sludge ponds, and there's a big 6-inch rigid water line coming down here. Well, right there is about a 10 or 12-inch water line, and we've got power lines here, so I'm assuming that this is coal company property. Still driving, not exactly sure where we are. It's a Monday. So far, this has been a very, very easy trail. The only hiccup was where that tree was across the road. You had to get off a little bit, but I still didn't use full-wheel drive. So as long as you got a little ground clearance, I believe you'd be all right. You ask sometimes what got us started in this capturing our moments on video. Well, it really started back when COVID hit. I'm retired, law enforcement retired from the Army, and when COVID hit, the grandkids had to, stay at home. Schools were closed and all that. Well, their parents are at work, so being the obvious babysitter, kids would come stay with me during the school day, and you had the stuff that they had to do on the computer and blah blah blah, upload and all that stuff. But after they got that done, we still had we had a lot of time that our parents could. So we started doing basically I started teaching them some survival skills. You know, everything from trying to build a fire with flint and steel to building a debris shelter. Well, that's what we would do during the day after they had their scheduled class. Well, then that kind of, we would post our pictures, videos, or whatever on Facebook. Well, then we started getting a big following of people that were so intrigued about what we were doing, and they thought it was awesome and blah blah blah, you know. So we continued to do that. Well, then one of the grandsons, I can't remember which one it was, but one of them says, "Hey, Papa, let's start a TikTok channel." Okay, I don't know nothing about TikTok, or didn't. And so we started that, and then, but right before that, then we came up with the Iron Arch Outdoors. And the Iron Arch Outdoors is a play on the New River Gorge Bridge. You know, it's a local attraction, so we just kind of went with that. And so anyway, we started with TikTok. We got a YouTube channel and Instagram and you know, and all this stuff. I don't know how to work or manage, so it's all a learning process for me. But we just have a good time doing it. You know, it gets the kids out. We have a good time. You know, camp, motor camp, fish hunt. They're in the basketball camp. That's why they're not with me. So, but that's how we kind of got started. Kids, they would say, "Papa, we need to air it down for maximum try